Hello students, welcome back. Today's session we shall look at inguinal canal. Learning objectives for today's session are mentioning the location and extent of inguinal canal, describing the boundaries of inguinal canal and briefing the contents of it, enumerating the mechanisms that prevent inguinal hernia, discussing the applied anatomy of inguinal canal. This is diagrammatic representation of lower part of anterior abdominal wall. This is midline. This is inguinal ligament. This is anterior superior iliac spine. This is the location of inguinal canal, which is located within the musculatures of anterior abdominal wall in the lower part. It's 4 centimeters in length, directed downwards, forwards and medially. It has two openings, deep and laterally, deep inguinal ring, superficial and medially, superficial inguinal ring. Let us place a superimposed model of inguinal canal on this picture. Like this, inguinal canal has anterior wall, roof, posterior wall and floor. Superficially and medially it has superficial inguinal ring, and this side it is deep inguinal ring. Let us look at the same in a realistic picture. These are the musculature forming the anterior abdominal wall, aponeurosis of external oblique, internal oblique muscle, transverse abdominis muscle. This white colored is fascia transversalis, extraperitoneal fat and peritoneum. Deep inguinal ring is formed within the opening of fascia transversalis. Superficial inguinal ring is opening formed within aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. So from here to here, within these musculature, obliquely located canal is inguinal canal. Let us look at walls of the inguinal canal. This is one more picture showing inguinal canal within the musculatures of anterior abdominal wall. This is external oblique muscle with its aponeurosis. Inside to it, internal oblique muscle, transverse abdominis muscle, which are joining to form the conjoint tendon on the medial side. Yellow colored is transversalis fascia. Inside to it, extraperitoneal fat, and blue colored is parietal peritoneum. The deep inguinal ring is located within this transversalis fascia. Superficial inguinal ring is located within aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. From here to here, within the musculatures, there is intramuscular canal, inguinal canal. Let us look at the walls or the structures which form the walls of inguinal canal. Anterior wall is formed from here to here throughout by aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. On the lateral 1/3 side, anterior wall is also formed by muscle fibers of internal oblique. Posterior wall, throughout it is formed by fascia transversalis. Inside to it, it is peritoneal, extraperitoneal fat and parietal peritoneum. On the lateral aspect, posterior wall is formed by conjoint tendon, which is formed by internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle. Roof is formed by arched fibers of transverse abdominis and internal oblique muscle. So they are arching like this. Interestingly, internal oblique muscle makes anterior boundary in the lateral aspect, roof in the middle aspect, and as you go to the lateral medial side of the canal, it forms posterior wall. Floor is formed by groove of inguinal ligament itself. Let us look at the contents of inguinal canal. Inguinal canal has spermatic cord in case of males. In females, it has round ligament of uterus, which is seen in this picture. Spermatic cord is formed by contents of it. We'll see what are the contents little later. And when those contents are leaving the canal, they will be ensheathed by the fascias of the anterior abdominal wall muscles, which they pierce to create this canal. So all those fascias are covering. So this is how spermatic cord has covering with its content. Round ligament of uterus is here. Only the location of deep inguinal ring and superficial inguinal ring have been shown here. This is a round ligament of uterus which distally goes and blends with the connective tissue of mons pubis. Ilioinguinal nerve. As we know, neurovascular structures are between the second and third muscle of the anterior abdominal wall. You can see a nerve here, that is ilioinguinal nerve, which is between internal oblique and transverse abdominis and running towards the canal, and which is within the canal. Ilioinguinal nerve. These are the contents of inguinal canal. Let us look at the coverings of spermatic cord. As I was discussing, some contents from the abdomen take entry through the inguinal canal, forming spermatic cord. Those contents are ductus deferens, testicular artery, pampiniform plexus of veins. They are all gonadal vessels, gonadal veins, and nerves to the gonad, that is testis. I have written three different structures in three different colors here. Actually, they are comparable to the diagram placed beside. External spermatic fascia is formed by aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. Cremasteric fascia is formed by the muscles which are of transverse abdominis and internal oblique both, which are seen here. And internal spermatic fascia is extension of fascia transversalis. So when contents of the spermatic cord are passing out through the inguinal canal, they will be ensheathed by the fascias of the muscles. So the white colored one here and here you can see external spermatic fascia. Here and here you can see cremasteric fascia, and here the innermost internal spermatic fascia. So inside to these fascia we find contents of spermatic cord. Then what are the contents of spermatic cord? This picture shows contents of the spermatic cord. It's a diagrammatic representation of transverse section. External spermatic fascia, cremasteric fascia, and internal spermatic fascia are seen here. Inside to them, importantly, the contents are ductus deferens, artery to ductus deferens, testicular artery, and corresponding veins of the gonad, which are testicular veins which are in the form of pampiniform plexus of veins, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve, few of the lymphatics. And within the wall, we find ilioinguinal nerve and artery to cremaster. Hernia. protrusion of contents of any cavity through any of its wall when it is weakened is called hernia, which is abnormal presentation. We can see some of the hernias here around umbilicus, in the inguinal region, and in the femoral triangle. So they are named umbilical hernia, inguinal hernia, and femoral hernia. This is the picture to show how when the wall of the abdomen becomes weaker, the contents can escape out through that weak part below the skin, forming hernias. In inguinal hernia, the contents of the abdomen or intestine is passing out through the deep inguinal ring and lying within the canal and coming out through the superficial inguinal ring, making bulge in the inguinal region. This is because of the defective inguinal canal or weak wall of the inguinal canal or dilated rings of the inguinal canal. As this canal is a natural structure, it has created weakness in the anterior abdominal wall. But there are some natural mechanisms which are preventing the inguinal hernia. So let us enumerate what those mechanisms are. First one is obliquity. Obliquely directed, and within the musculature it is obliquely placed. Whenever muscles contract, they will compress anteroposteriorly. The canal will be compressed anteroposteriorly. Rings are guarded. Superficial inguinal ring, just behind it we find conjoint tendon. Deep inguinal ring, just in front of it we find internal oblique muscle. Like that, they are strengthening the rings. Shutter mechanism. Arched fibers of internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle are making shutter-like mechanism. When they contract, they really pull the roof towards the floor during contraction. So this is how it is preventing the contents which try to go out through the canal. Ball valve mechanism. The cremasteric muscle, which are within the cremasteric fascia, around the cremasteric fascia, which are extension from the transverse abdominis and the internal oblique muscle, they are contracting to pull the testis towards the superficial inguinal ring. That's how the spermatic cord itself is trying to come back towards the superficial inguinal ring during contraction of anterior abdominal wall muscles. This is also known as ball valve mechanism. Slit valve mechanism. When we look at the superficial inguinal ring, it has two crusts. Crust means like both of them together we call them as crura. Lateral and medial crusts are approximating each other during contraction of the external oblique muscle. This is regarded as slit valve mechanism. Hormones. Male hormones are actually adding tone to these anterior abdominal wall muscles to prevent hernia. An important applied anatomical aspect with respect to inguinal canal is inguinal hernia. Let us look at them. There are two varieties, direct and indirect. This is diagrammatic representation, anterior superior iliac spine, this is superficial inguinal ring, deep inguinal ring, and this is the canal. Indirect inguinal hernia, the contents are passing through both the rings. This arrow is showing how the contents of hernia are protruding towards the canal and going out of the superficial ring. Look at this picture. In direct hernia, directly the contents are entering the canal, bypassing the deep inguinal ring. If they have to bypass the deep inguinal ring, the contents are directly entering the canal, breaking the posterior wall of the inguinal canal. There should be deficiency in the posterior wall of the inguinal canal. Then this type of hernia is called direct inguinal hernia. This is indirect inguinal hernia. This is realistic representation of inguinal hernia. you can see here, these are the contents of intestine which are passing out through the deep ring. This is the fascia transversalis through which the contents are passing. This is inner two muscles and outer muscle having aponeurosis. This is superficial ring, they are all protruding out. So this is, I can call this is indirect inguinal hernia. If it has to be direct inguinal hernia, the contents will break here, break the wall of inguinal canal and come down here, escaping the deep ring. So that will be direct inguinal hernia. This is one more picture showing the inguinal hernias and their positions, how they escape out of the abdominal cavity. This is indirect route for the indirect hernia. You can see the black arrow through the deep ring, through the canal and through the superficial ring. This is indirect hernia. The green colored one arrow is showing direct inguinal hernia, which breaks the posterior wall of the canal and then contents will escape out of the superficial inguinal ring. Okay, and you can also appreciate here, this is inferior epigastric artery which is medial to the deep inguinal ring. So whenever the hernia protrudes out of the abdominal wall, if the root of the hernia is lateral to the epigastric artery, that is indirect. If the root of the hernia is medial to the epigastric artery, that will be direct hernia. So I am showing you with one triangle here in blue color. So this is also called Hasselbalch's triangle. So the base of which is formed by the medial part of the inguinal canal and laterally epigastric artery, that is inferior epigastric artery, and medially it would be the lateral border of same-sided rectus abdominis muscle. So this is called Hasselbalch's triangle. The contents, whenever they pass out through the Hasselbalch's triangle, the root of the hernia, that would be usually direct inguinal hernia. This ends the class. Happy studies.